This is the variable we have ignored too long. Maybe because we are afraid of love, because it is the only energy in the universe that man has not learned to drive at will. Albert Einstein.
What is a democracy?
Okay. There's two ways of looking at democracy. One of them is the narrow sense of a political system. It's a formal way of making decisions in a society where everyone who lives there has a say and says something. Then they make some kind of decision like voting, and whatever the collective decision is through voting, for example, that is the law. That's the narrow sense of a democracy. The other version, which people sometimes confuse it with, is a representative democracy, which is really called a republic, which is where, in order for you to vote, you have to meet certain qualifications. And then you engage in discussion, and you vote for people who want you to vote for them, and then they get together, and they vote, and whatever they decide is the law. And so it's indirect democracy, or democracy through representatives, and that is what we have as a representative democracy, but we're a republic. Then there is the idea of democracy as in the larger sense. We are a democratic republic, so we're really not a democracy in terms of our form of government. We're a republic, but we're a democratic republic in that the decisions our lawmakers are supposed to make and the way our society should be run should be in conformance with democratic values. And those values are found in the Bill of Rights of the Constitution of the United States and in the Constitution itself. And that says that you cannot make a law that violates these values or you're no longer a democracy. And so if you look at a society of the government and the economy and the private life or the culture, if the culture is not democratic, then the society will probably not be democratic. If the economy is overpowering of the culture and it's not democratic, then you're not democratic. If the government's not democratic in terms of values, then you can't be democratic. All three together have to conform to democratic values to be a democracy. And what are those values? Essentially, they are a balance of the rule of law, which means you can count on things to be there, justice, and freedom. So liberty, equality, and order in balance over time. And there's other democratic values, but those are the core values. If those are not in balance and they're not present, then you don't have a democratic society. So I realize I can go on and on about it. But,
No, totally. So, I mean, on that scale, America as a whole, where are we in that system?
Well, if you were to look at an indicator of what it means to be democratic in terms of values and list all the possible values and then ask yourself, say there's 13, 14 values that you could say are democratic, of which I've named 3. And you were to give each one a scale of 0 to 100, and then you were to ask, how does our marketplace, how does our culture, and how does our political system scale up? And then you were to say on a score of 0 to 100 on 14 indicators, then average them out, and are you more democratic or less democratic? Princeton University just did that kind of study. And what they found was we are no longer a representative democracy. We are a plutocratic oligarchy, which basically means that more often than not, it's rich people, plutocracy, who rule, and it's a small number of rich people, which is an oligarchy, which makes us really a plutocratic oligarchy. And right now there's a struggle over democratic values, and you've got people on the Christian right, and specifically the Christian right, who wish to turn the United States into a theocracy, which is the rule of one religion. Well, one of the democratic values we have in the Constitution is that we cannot make laws based on a religion. So the minute you say you want to make us a Christian theocracy, you're turning us into an authoritarian state, specifically a theocracy. And then when you're in alliance with plutocrats, it becomes a combination of a theocracy for the many and a plutocratic oligarchy for the few. And So the question is, where is democracy in that? Where are women's rights? Where are the rights for the poor? Where are the rights for the oppressed? Where's health care? Where's child care? Where's the right to have control over your own body? And those start to fall apart when the only thing they're replaced with is the values. So in other words, we're in a very time of very high risk.